Have you been working on yourself for years? Therapy, self help, all of it. And you're better in a lot of ways, but that feeling that something's fundamentally off about you, it never actually goes away. And it's not just insecurity, not just, I feel bad about myself today. It's deeper than that. And maybe you can't even explain it, it's just there, like you don't have that internal foundation other people seem to have. Like something about you feels missing or broken. So, what do? You work on your confidence, your self esteem. You try to heal, improve, upgrade, correct. Because if something's missing, that's the logical response, right? Fix it. But here's the part that almost never gets questioned. What if nothing is actually missing? What if the thing you've been trying to fix was never broken in the first place? And what actually changed wasn't you, but the way you started relating to yourself. See, most people think the problem is confidence or self esteem, and they spend years working on that. But here's what's actually happening: you've been trying to solve a self worth problem with self esteem solutions, and they're not the same thing. See, self esteem is how you feel about yourself based on outcomes, how you perform, how you compare, how you're perceived. That's why it rises and falls. But self worth isn't about how you feel about yourself, it's about how you relate to yourself, whether you experience yourself as fundamentally okay or as someone who needs to prove, improve, or justify their existence. At its most basic level, self worth is just, I'm allowed to exist, I matter, and I don't need to earn the right to be here. And you were born with this. As a baby, you didn't question whether you were enough. You didn't need to prove anything. You just existed, and that was sufficient. And that hasn't changed. You still have it. You just can't access it anymore because at some point you started picking up on patterns. Maybe love felt conditional, present when you behaved a certain way and then absent when you didn't. Maybe you were praised for what you accomplished, not for who you were. Maybe your emotions were treated as inconvenience, something to manage, not something that mattered. Maybe you learned that keeping others comfortable was more important than being yourself. You might not have been directly told you're not enough, but you inferred it. And that inference felt logical. It made sense based on what you were experiencing. So you started adjusting, monitoring yourself, trying to be the version of you that would be acceptable, safe, enough. And you started relating to yourself the way the world seemed to relate to you, as someone who needed correction, someone who needed to earn their place, someone conditional, constantly checking, am I okay? Am I doing this right? Am I enough yet? And then this is still happening today, even if no one else is doing it anymore. You keep doing it to yourself. That constant stance of treating yourself as someone who needs fixing, as someone who's not quite right yet, not quite acceptable yet. It creates a feeling, and that feeling is that something is wrong with you, that something is missing. But that feeling isn't proof that you're broken or missing anything. It's the byproduct of how you're relating to yourself. Because here's the thing: you cannot feel inherent self worth from a position of constantly trying to fix yourself. The moment you're standing outside yourself, assessing whether you're okay, whether you're enough, whether you're fixed yet, you've moved out of the experience where self worth can be felt. And then it becomes a loop. You feel like something's wrong, so you try to fix it. But the act of trying to fix yourself sends a message, not just to your conscious mind, but to your entire system. And it says, there's a problem with me. So even if you're saying, but I'm working on myself, I'm healing, I'm getting better, your behavior is still saying, I'm not okay yet. Something needs to be corrected. I'm not acceptable yet. And that reinforces the feeling that something is missing. So the feeling that something is missing isn't coming from a lack inside you, it's coming from the position you're holding towards yourself, a position where you're always just one insight away, one breakthrough away, one healed part away from finally being okay. Your system is in waiting mode. The self worth isn't something you arrive at. It's not something you earn once you've healed enough or improved enough or become the right version of yourself. It's what becomes available the moment you stop standing over yourself and start standing with yourself, not as a project or a problem, but as someone who was never meant to earn the right to be here in the first place. So if you've been searching for the thing that's missing, it's never another insight. It's not another breakthrough. It isn't another version of you. Nothing went missing. You didn't lose your worth. You didn't damage it. You didn't fail to develop it. You simply learned to relate to yourself from a position that made it impossible to feel. Stop treating yourself as someone who needs to be earned, improved, or justified. The work isn't about fixing who you are. It's about changing the way you stand with yourself. What you've been looking for doesn't actually need to be built because it's already there.